story behind Smoke Signals. Smoke Signals I actually wrote not for myself, but with another friend of mine who's actually creative in mind, and I'd heard them kind of singing about, and I thought, you know, to get them to sing, and I wrote a couple of songs, and when I wrote this song, I thought this song would be really, really ideal, and I was probably kind of in some way kind of channeling them and a world of that they could probably identify with in some way, shape or form. And the song actually has this character, and it's a character that I always felt that you could interpret in two ways. Either it's somebody who's really out of their head in some way and their world is beginning to really narrow in on them. I always imagine them in this flat, this apartment, and it's like the walls are coming in on them, that their life is really just being reduced and that they've given up hope, and you know that there's an escapism going on for them. You know, hence this character who's kind of dressed a little bit like this, and where they're, you know, is it the world's coming in on this, that they've given up, or is it somebody who has had former glories and is burned out? So I always imagined that it could also be a kind of like a washed up rock star. Is one of the versions of this, or washed up rock star, which is why there's a little bit of prancing about, and probably where this voice, I never give in, I never go out, kind of comes from. Maybe that's where that comes from. But on the other side, that could also very much be identified by this other character who is, you know, the world is just, has come in on them, and they're feeling as though they're completely, all hope has kind of gone. And maybe this is why when you watch the video, there's so many different things going on, and you've got the person in the, basically kind of in this straitjacket scenario, and what does that represent? Does that represent, actually, I don't think it's literal, I think it's kind of metaphorical, that they somehow feel straitjacketed in their own life, in their own mind, and that kind of can happen for us. Or is it the other exuberant character? You know, this character whereby they actually are deluded. So is it about this disillusionment? Is it about, on one hand, is it about this deluded? Is it about just that you're just devastated and everything's falling apart? And you know, that thing about help me, it's going up in smoke. You know, maybe that's what that bit is about. But they've still got some fight in them. You know, and if you think I'm crazy, you must be out of your mind. You'd have to be darn crazy to want to get into mine. I see the pigs start to fly, but they are so far below me. Yeah, I'm as high as a kite. I've got an eagle within me. So there's all of these different things kind of going on. And in a way, it's for you to unpack. It's for you, for the listener, to decide, what is this song about? And I like when songs can play out on a number of different levels. And is it the person who feels that they've got no hope? Is it the person who's seen great glories and they're now washed up? What is it? But I think there's something in this that speaks to us, and whether it's on a personal level, that the person within them feels lost and trapped, or be it in their life and their circumstances and they feel trapped, or whether this is something about the society, you know, the smoke signals that are the signs that, you know, it's not working and that everything's falling apart on some level. And I like when songs can do different things on different levels, and they're whatever they want you to be. If you want it to just be this fun pop song, you know, fun, rocky, you know, indie pop song, great, that's great. It is that, and there's humor in that. But is it something which is far more telling about all of our own challenges, and it's meant to be like that all of us have this little bit of that, this little bit of is it, be it the despondent or the disillusioned or the, you know, just deluded, you know, there's that little bit of that. So I wanted to write something that was very, very human as well as something that's kind of quite eccentric. And that really is the story of Smoke Signals. And it was the very, you know, of this batch of songs, you know, there's a forthcoming album. Probably the album's out by the time that you've watched this. And first of all, I thought it was a kind of a standalone thing because it was intended for somebody else, but then I realized that as an album, this song had to be on the album, and even as other songs emerged, I was very, very clear that this song had to start everything off with this new body of work. So that's a little bit about this song, Smoke Signals.
Yeah.